This September the 10th picks edition of the MLB Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Sign up with the promo code MLB SGPN to score up to $1,000 in bonus cash. We're also brought to you by Rhythm. Get your 7-day free trial today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM. Welcome, everybody, to the MLB Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. My name is Malcolm Bamford, coming to you from Newcastle upon Tyne in the northeast of England. Today is Monday, September the 9th, and we are here to look across the action for Tuesday, September 10 in MLB. Joining me is the OG, Mr. Munaf Manji. Munaf, hello, mate. How are you?
Doing well. Another week of baseball in the books. Well, we got 3 weeks left now till we get to the postseason there. So definitely excited. I know football is starting to take over, or has taken over at least, but we're still grinding out baseball here. But glad to be here with you, my friend.
Yeah, we've got about 18 or 19 games left for most teams.
Yeah.
I was trying to explain to the IT department last night the crossover of the busy timeline, just trying to set lineups for how many baseball teams and then your baseball survivor picks and set your tally site picks. And then you get all that done. I mean, it's 10, 15 minutes, and then you go on to your NFL fantasy picks and your NFL pick 'em. You've got to run through all of them and then get your survivor pick in and then set your tally site picks. And then you cross to DraftKings, get your DFS done, all of that. And then Premier League, let's check. Mate, it's it's like 2 full-time jobs, all totally unnecessary, silly, and absolutely love it. Wouldn't change a thing. So yeah, loads of stuff going on. I enjoyed sitting and watching the Red Zone last night for pretty much. I got the 7 hours of commercial-free football, but I had the baseball going at the same time. I was double parked all over the place. In terms of the MLB Munaf, it seems to be now the National League wild card spots that are up for grabs, while the AL divisional races are the ones that are still up for grabs. The American League, we've got a half-game lead for the Yankees, a 2.5-game lead for the Guardians, a 4.5-game lead for the Astros. So they're the ones with divisional honours still up for grabs. Where in the NL, you've got a 7-game, a 9-game, and a 6-game lead. But you could throw a blanket over the wildcard teams. We had the Mets and the Braves. The Atlanta walked it off last night to draw level with the Braves, who had their 9-game winning streak snapped. So sort of 2 different angles in here. One league divisional races, 1 league wildcard races, but both very exciting, Munaf.
Yeah, I mean, like you mentioned, right? The division up for grabs in the American League, and then the National League. We have the Diamondbacks that have a 1.5-game lead over the Mets and the Braves right now, who are tied for that 3rd spot right now, and only the Padres, I should say, have a 2-game lead over the 3rd place teams here in the National League. So, we say this usually every week when we're kind of looking at the standings, that there's still a lot of meaningful baseball left to be played here. So, people that are baseball junkies are still watching it every day, and I think that at this juncture of the season, it's great to have at least meaningful baseball, because a lot of time, we'll start seeing some of these teams that are pretty much out of contention starting to wrap it up for the season. Look forward to next year, but still plenty to be determined. And again, as the weeks progress here, Mal, we're still gonna have meaningful series that are, it's gonna it's gonna feel like playoff atmosphere for those teams because they're fighting for those spots. So definitely looking forward to it, honestly.
Dylan said he went to the Mets game last Monday.
Mhm.
What holiday was it? It was some holiday. He went to the baseball with his mum,
Labor Day.
and he said it was a real playoff atmosphere at the Mets. Real playoff atmosphere. Getting into September, and the Mets still with something to play for. I topped up my futures last week. I took the Padres at 16s and the Mets at 33s, just to give me a few more runners. Hopefully, something to crack on to going into the postseason. So yeah, you're right, Munaf. Loads of stuff going on. Gio face in the chat. Gio, how you doing? Alex is saying nice things. Alex, how you doing? There was a bloke in the comments. Some occasionally, about once a week, I'll catch up with the comments for people who've watched the show not live. And someone kept talking about the British bloke in the unders. I can't remember who it was, but it made me giggle. So I appreciated that. I did catch the comments just a few days probably after you posted them. So the British bloke says thank you for that. And we'll crack on. I'm going to tell you first about the NFL and college football in full swing. Get across to the Sports Gambling Podcast and listen to Sean and Ryan and the college football experience as well. Colby et al. Free picks for every game against the spread. The recap show was fun. Sean was drunk as a skunk and had an hour-long battle between Jameson and Jameis, Winston, Jameson, Williams, and he was full of Jameson whiskey at the same time. The struggle was real for Sean in that hour. I don't know what time of night it was in Vegas, but that entire struggle made me giggle while I was driving around the northeast this morning. That made me laugh. We're going to start Tuesday with, we'll skip past the Rockies and the Tigers. We might have a little chat about that because we're going to go to a 6:40 start. The Tampa Bay Rays at the Philadelphia Phillies. And it will be Taj Bradley for the Rays. For the Phillies, left-handed pitcher, Ranger Suarez. Minus 150 for the Phillies. The Rays are plus 130. And the total sits at 7.5 in this one. Faded Bradley last week quite confidently in the total, and it didn't quite work out. Tampa Bay did lose the game, but 4-3. Bradley pitched a little bit better than he had been. He gave up 4 earned runs, but that was over 7 innings with 10 strikeouts. So he did keep Tampa Bay in that game. That was at home, though, and his last 3 road starts have been some of his worst of the season. Ranger Suarez went 5 scoreless against Miami, which was good enough last time out. I just don't want to put too much store in that because it was Miami and it's been really struggling as well. I can't take the over just because of Tampa Bay's offense, 3.6 runs per game over the last 30 days, hitting 215. It's not enough to make you want to take the over. And the Tampa Bay Rays bullpen has been quite good as well, so they could limit Philly. I'm going to take a Philly first 5 team total. I think the best option here is the Philly offense against Bradley early on. So with the total low, Philly runs early on. Munaf will be my play.
Yeah, I think that you take a look at Taj Bradley, like he's going to give up the runs, right? I mean, you look at his last 5 starts, he's given up at least 4 earned runs and for the last 5 starts. And the Rays have also lost 4 of his last 5 starts as well. I know there was about a month or so that Ranger Suarez had missed, I should say, back from around July 23rd to August 23rd for the Philadelphia Phillies. But you're right. How much can you really take away from that start against Miami Marlins, who have struggled all season against left-handed pitching here? So I'll be curious to see, number one, how long they keep Ranger Suarez out there, because it feels like his ceiling right now is about 5 innings. So I think if you do want to back the Phillies here, maybe doing the first 5 innings on their run line. I don't know. I'm just not a believer in the Rays. I think I was a year or two early on fading them. I think this is a year that they, really fell behind, especially in the AL East, where they were just walking into 90, 95 wins at a time. And at this juncture of the season, they were in that conversation of being the division leaders or in contention for the division. But things have changed there in Tampa Bay there. So, first 5 innings run line for the Phillies. I wouldn't be opposed to a full game run line here as well for the Tampa Bay Rays. Just 2 teams going in different directions right now, Mel.
Can't remember the name of the young lad now, but Tampa Bay minor league player stole his 100th base of the season yesterday. Not sure at what level. Yeah, that's fun. So he's been run a little bit of a road runner thing. Yeah, have a look at that. It's fun. Hopefully we'll see him in the majors soon, running for all he's worth. Next game on our radar is a 6:45 Eastern first pitch between the Atlanta Braves and the Washington Nationals. It is Ronaldo Lopez for Atlanta. Mackenzie Gore draws the start, left-handed pitcher for the Nationals, who will go off here plus 136 home underdogs with the Braves at minus 162. Total sitting at 8. Like I say, Atlanta tied for the wild card spot after walking one off last night. Just a note on Chris Sale as well. 16 consecutive starts with 2 runs or fewer now from Chris Sale after last night's effort. Absolutely preposterous stuff. Munaf, Braves at the Nationals.
Yeah, I mean, one pitcher that's kind of been overshadowed because of what Chris Sale has been doing this season has been Ronaldo Lopez. I know he missed some time there with an injury, but he just came back right. Looks like right where he left off. He's made about 3 starts in the month of August. All went very, very well for him. He had a start there in his last game against the Colorado Rockies, 6 innings, 2 earned runs, 11 strikeouts he had in that game. Unfortunately, didn't get the run support in that game there, Mal, but I mean, he's just been very, very consistent where no matter where he's pitched thus far this season. Just kind of looking at his numbers, home and road this season, he's been definitely better at home, but I mean, 1.82 ERA at home, 2.35 on the road, 4-2 at home in 13 starts, 4-3 on the road in 10 starts there. So Mackenzie Gore has been going along pretty well I should say, for the Washington Nationals. His last start was against the Marlins, but again, like we just talked about, the Marlins are a team that struggle against left-handed pitching. Historically, Mal, Mackenzie Gore's been really, really good against the Atlanta Braves. He has a 3-run record with a 3.09 ERA. So, pretty good form. And this is going to be the 4th time he's faced the Atlanta Braves this season. And each of the 3 starts he's made previously, he's only allowed 1 earned run each in those starts. Not giving up a lot of home runs this season as well. I used to the Atlanta Braves here. So I feel like now this could turn into a bit of a pitcher's duel here. If you want to take the first 5 innings under between Mackenzie Gore and Ronaldo Lopez, we know about the Braves offense. They've been struggling a little bit this season because they have been missing their key guys in that lineup as well, right? Ronald Acuna Jr., Michael Harris is out for a little bit there. Austin Riley's been out now. So couldn't talk you up with the under in this game. It is going to be an interesting situation, Mal, because on Monday night, the Atlanta Braves are playing a makeup game against the Reds, and then they have to travel to the nation's capital to take on the Nationals there. But it's not a huge road trip, but I think that's something worth mentioning. But under would be the play for me, whether it's first 5 under or full game under.
I completely agree with you, Munaf. That was my play as well. Instinctively, I think I knew what to expect when I looked at Lopez. He was excellent last time against the Rockies. He didn't get any help. And actually, him not getting much help has been a little bit of a feature of his starts. But he struck out 11 Rockies last time over 6 innings. His August-September ERA is way under 2.5. His road ERA is 2.35. But it was Mackenzie Gore. He's been in really good form. 6 innings he's gone in each of his last 3 starts, so you're going to get decent length. He's only given up 4 earned runs total over those 18 innings. The game totals are down 7, 7, 5, and 6. And there's ticks and boxes for the unders for both pitchers here. Lopez 3-1 to the under in his last 4. Gore 4-1 to the under in his last 5. And the Braves are going under against left-handed pitching as well. So yeah, everything signposts to exactly where you arrived, Munaf. I will take the under alongside yourself. Underdog Fantasy Pick'em gives you a chance to win 1,000 times your entry. The NFL is back, and there are tons of Pick'em specials to get you started. You can use specials and boosts on all flexed entries. I don't know if anyone remembers, I gave out Adam Thielen higher a few times last week. And sure enough, got a winner there. Higher than 37, cashed at 49 or something. So insert our promo code MLB SGPN to claim your special pick and first time deposit offer up to $1,000 in bonus cash. UnderdogFantasy.com promo code MLB SGPN. Next game is I need to check on the Mets game. I forgot to handicap that earlier on. It's next. After a 7:05 Eastern first pitch between the Kansas City Royals and the New York Yankees, it will be Seth Lugo returning to New York for the Royals. Marcus Stroman goes for the Yankees. Yankees are minus 148. Kansas City plus 126. And the total is at 8.5. Bobby Witt versus Aaron Judge, I think, is one of the big themes of this series. So looking forward to see who can get the bats going there. Seth Lugo appears to have righted the ship a little bit. He's found it. He had it. He lost it. It might be back. 7 innings in his last 2 starts. Only 1 earned run in each of those. And against decent opposition too. I don't know, we're quite quick to strike out that Miami start that Ranger Suarez had, whatever. Lugo went against Cleveland and Houston. He's been good in his career against the Yankees as well. A 3.18 career ERA against New York, which plays here. Stroman, kind of the opposite way around. He'd regained his form in August, but he wasn't very good last time in Texas. And he's not been good at home. He's not been as good at home. That's a real key here, I think. Kansas City are just rolling a little bit. They've got some momentum. They have won 4 games in a row. I'm going to give the Royals a chance here, Munaf at plus 126.
Yes, it goes back to the fact that Marcus Stroman's pitching at home at Yankee Stadium, right? And he gives up a lot of runs, to say the least, when he's pitching at home for the Yankees. 14 starts at Yankee Stadium, 5-5 with a 4.86 ERA. Compare that to his road numbers: 13 starts, 5-2 with a 3.09 ERA. So, obviously being in that smaller ballpark, he has struggled a little bit. Post All-Star break as well, Marcus Stroman has struggled 3-3 in 8 starts with a 5.45 ERA. And now Royals offense coming in, like you mentioned, that seems like they've figured it out a little bit. They're also in that race for the AL Central. I know they've fallen behind a little bit, but just looking at their updated standings right now, I mean, this was a team that was in the lead until they went on that losing streak. But now they are sitting 2.5 games behind the Guardians after, let's see, now winning 4 games in a row. So they've been a little bit streaky here, have the Kansas City Royals. I think the value definitely is here on the Royals side at plus 120. I'd like their team total to go over in this game, whether it's in the first 5 innings or full game. It's really just fading Marcus Stroman, and we know how bad the bullpen has also been for the New York Yankees. So I do think that they can get runs here. You get all 9 at-bats with the road team here in the Kansas City Royals. So I look at the Royals side. I look at their runs to be going over their number, but probably at 4.5 would be the number for the Kansas City Royals. So those are the 2 plays I do like for this game here, Mel.
7:07 Eastern first pitch is the New York Mets at the Toronto Blue Jays. Left-handed pitcher David Peterson goes for the Mets, and it will be Chris Bassett who was handed the ball for the Toronto Blue Jays. Plus 102, so a tiny underdog. The Blue Jays minus 120. The Mets, and Munaf, the total is 8.5.
Yeah, Chris Bassett coming off of his previous start, which was against the Phillies, 5 1/3, 3 earned runs, 7 strikeouts in that game. You just take a look at his home and road splits this season. He's been worse at home, to say the least. 16 starts, 6-7 with a 4.78 ERA on the road. Not a winning record at 3-6, but he does have a 3.64 ERA. Wasn't a great month of August for Chris Bassett. He's just 1-3 with a 5.34 ERA. The month of September, he's made 1 start, like I just mentioned, a 5.06 ERA, allowed 3 earned runs. Home runs are a problem for Chris Bassett, Mal. I mean, because you take a look at his numbers. He gave up 2 home runs to the Philadelphia Phillies. He gave up, let's see here, in the month of August alone, gave up 4 home runs in that span. I feel like this is a game we may be able to, or not may be able to, but I think we'll see runs in this game. I'm not sure that again, it seemed like the Blue Jays had figured it out a little bit, but again, too little, too late for the Toronto Blue Jays here. I would honestly look at the Mets. David Peterson has been in really good form here. I backed him his last outing, which was, I believe, on his birthday, if I'm not mistaken, which was against the Red Sox. 6 innings, 1 earned run. He had 11 strikeouts in that game as well for the New York Mets. And now he's gone at least 6 innings in 5 straight starts. The Mets have won 5 straight starts. So I think it's just 2 pitchers going in completely different directions. He's having a phenomenal season for this rotation of the New York Mets, 9-1 with a 2.75 ERA. And you just take a look at what he's done after the All-Star break now, 5-1 in 9 starts for the Mets, 2.47 ERA. So I'm going to back the better pitcher here. You mentioned it, that the Mets are in the fight for the National League wild card race there. So every win is going to matter here. I'm just going to fade Chris Bassett, back the hotter pitcher, and then in David Peterson here. I like the Mets on the money line here.
Yep, we're in lockstep again, Munaf. I just couldn't see a reason not to bet on the Mets. If you go round by round, the Mets win just about everything. The only thing I couldn't really split them on were the bats, the offense for the last 30 years. Toronto have been a little bit better, but we get the better pitcher. I agree. On the numbers recently, we get clearly the better bullpen, actually, the New York Mets. And the offense is close. Blue Jays haven't played lefties particularly well this year. 12-19 straight up. 12-17-2 in the first 5, if you wanted to shorten it. And the Mets have got something to play for. And the Blue Jays haven't. Everything I saw wanted me to take the Mets. Minus 120 is a great price. Happy with that. Let's go Mets. Next game is, where we go in, 7:10 Eastern between the Baltimore Orioles and the Boston Red Sox. It is Albert Suarez for Baltimore and Cutter Crawford goes for the Red Sox. It's a match on the books, minus 108 each of 2. Total sits at 9.5. Albert Suarez got lit up by the Chicago White Sox of all teams last time out. But that was really out of character for him. Had been winning in low-scoring games before that. He had a 1.97 August ERA. So I think we can forgive him a little wobble, even if it was against the White Sox. Cutter Crawford's been really steady. You get a very similar line every game from him. But Boston have lost 4 of his last 4 starts in a row. Boston have lost of his. The batting stats of both teams are way down. There's red everywhere in them, particularly key stuff like WRC plus that we're looking at. And I think that's reflected in the over-under splits. Boston are 13-9 to the first 5 under. And I didn't really realise, Munaf, just how sort of bang average Baltimore have been recently. They're 17-18 in the last 35 games. So they're not particularly in great form. I think the injured players that Baltimore have got and still have is starting to hurt them just a little bit. And I was surprised at that when I looked. Sometimes I'll check the scores and you just think, you look at the standings. Yeah, Baltimore are going along okay. And actually, they haven't been particularly good for quite a while now. I like the under. Like I said, both pitches I expect to go well. And both batting lineups really are struggling at the moment. So that total is high, and I'm not entirely sure why. Maybe Suarez bad last start, but 9.5 looks too high for me, Munaf. It's another under.
Yeah, Cutter Crawford has struggled in his career against the Baltimore Orioles. He's made 5 starts against them. He's 0-5 straight up, 0-5 on the run line against the Orioles. And 3 of those starts were all this. 3 of those 5 starts were this season as well. Back on April 10th, May 29th, and the most recent one was on August 18th. 7-5, 6-1, and 4-2 in favor of the Baltimore Orioles. And just in particular at home at Fenway Park, just made 1 start against him, which was that first start this season back on April 10th. They lost 7-5 to the Red Sox. It seems like the Red Sox have, like you mentioned, like both teams have kind of fell off here, especially on the batting side of things. But again, you talk about this Orioles team, right? They're something similar to what we talked about with God, what was the team we just talked about? That's something to play for.
Mets.
Yeah, the Mets against the Blue Jays, right? So something similar here with the Orioles against the Red Sox here. So I'll look at the Red Sox on the money line here, minus 105 against Cutter Crawford. Cutter Crawford hasn't been a guy that I can truly, really trust. He started off the season great and he lost his form this season at Fenway Park. He hasn't been very good in particular. Trying to pull up those numbers exactly here for you. Let me just trim this here to the 2024 season. So he's made 14 starts at Fenway Park. 4-10 straight up are the Red Sox in those starts. 4-10 on the run line there as well. So if you want to get a little gutsy with it, minus 1.5 on the Orioles may be worth a look here as well. But I do like the Orioles side here for this game.
Okay, and Munaf's down on Baltimore. If you have ever wanted to create your own sports betting model for football, Rhythm is the place to do it. One of our favourite partners here at SGPN. Rhythm is the #1 AI-powered sports betting platform. Helps provide bettors of all levels the ability to customize predictive betting models in seconds. You can get predictions for money line spreads, totals, and props. You can either build your own model or copy one of the top performing models from the leaderboard. Research, trend analysis, give you loads more betting insights over on Rhythm. Claim your 7-day free trial today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM. Next game we will look at here is where are we going? Oh, all the way down to an 8:10 Eastern first pitch between the Oakland Athletics and the Houston Astros. Osvaldo Bido for the Athletics and Spencer Arrighetti for the Astros, who are minus 184. The Athletics are plus 154. The total is 8.5. And I'm pleased you're leading us off, Munaf, because I found this really tricky, this game. I spent ages on this, and I'm still scratching my head a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, this Astros team has just been really, really difficult to figure out this season. And I mean, last night, if you watch Sunday Night Baseball, they just got absolutely lambasted by the Diamondbacks in particular. God, I forgot the guy's name that hit 3 home runs last night.
David Smith, wasn't it?
Yeah, there you go. And it was just early on. He hit a grand slam. I believe it was like a second and third inning against the Astros, and that was pretty much all she wrote. Spencer Arrighetti just coming off one of the worst starts of the season in his last outing against the Cincinnati Reds. Wasn't very pretty. The Cincinnati Reds scored 9 runs in that first inning against the Astros, and they went on to win 12-5 there. But I'm not sure if that's a one-off game for Spencer Arrighetti. He had found, I mean, at the beginning of the season, he was really, really in bad form. But he felt like he turned it around, right? There was some positive regression that was due for him, and it finally came about. But this last start just was not very good for him. At home this season at Minute Maid Park, Mal, he is 3-5 with a 4.34 ERA. You could say like the value is on the Oakland A's in this game at a plus 154 price. I think I'm just gonna back the Astros bats here. I don't want to lay them minus 184. Look, this could be a game where they come out and just win and take care of business. But I do think that the offense can get to the Oakland A's starter Baedo, however you want to say it, and also the bullpen. I know the bullpen has been pretty good for them this season, but the Astros offense has at least been the one consistent thing since the All-Star break, I should say there. And they got Alex Bregman back. Kyle Tucker should be back this week. I don't know. I haven't checked today. I officially got him back. He was dealing with that shin injury, but you can trust the Astros offense. So I think that's what I'm going to do here. So I'll take the over 4.5 on the team total over for the Astros.
The Spencer Arrighetti, that last start, I'd really talked him up on the last show, and I was sitting here feeling quite smug and pleased with myself because I'd said for a while I was expecting him to get it together, and I was quite pleased with myself. I bet him, and by the time I'd made my cup of tea and come back, he was gone. I was like, "Where's Spencer Arrighetti gone?" He'd given up 5 runs. He was out the game. About 5 times a year, I watch a game that doesn't last beyond my first cup of tea, and that was absolutely one of them. But I mean, yeah, so I just don't know really what to do with him. Bido's been in decent form. Pitched 2 innings in relief last time. I'm not sure what happened there because his work as a starter has been really good. He's been in the rotation for ages. Then all of a sudden, I don't know if it was a rain affected or what, but he got 2 innings in relief. And he had 5 wins in a row before that. It was really tricky, mate. The batting metrics match up quite well. The starting pitchers match up well. But Houston do have a clear edge when it comes to the bullpen. So I was a little bit torn with you, Munaf. I looked at that price, plus 154. But I thought Oakland first 5 plus half a run, maybe, might be my angle in there. Because I do think this is closer than the books have it. But this was tricky. There's 2 games. There's another one later on the card as well. Can't remember which one it is. We'll get to it. But yeah, I found this one really, really hard, Munaf. Next is 9:40 Eastern first pitch between the San Diego Padres and the Seattle Mariners. It's Yu Darvish for the Padres. Seattle have George Kirby going, and it's tight on the books again, minus 102. The Mariners, minus 116. The Padres, total here of 7. I noticed Luis Castillo left the game early for the Mariners last night. I mean, it's a bit late in the season for them to do much about it, really. 4.5 games back, I suppose. So, yeah, that's not ideal. Yu Darvish has been inconsistent lately. Only 8 outs in his last start against the Tigers. The Yankees hit him around 3 starts ago. But both of those starts have been at home, and he has been better on the road, albeit a small sample. He's only started 3 games on the road this year, but has pitched well, a 1.59 ERA. George Kirby's been dead average, is what he's been. In his last 5 starts, he's given up 2, 5, 3, 2, and 6. Seattle have won 3 and lost 2. I did notice there's been a ton of runs in those games. 19, 14, 7, 13, and 16. So 4 of those 5 have had a minimum of 12 runs. Seattle's offense has picked up in the last month. I think the books will make the total. Here's the thing. This is what my notes say, Munaf. I think the books will make the total 8, and we can go over. Well, the books have made the total 7. So we're definitely going over. Give me that over 7, Munaf.
Yeah, it was Yu Darvish's first start back since missing about 3 months of almost. His last start was May 29th before that start against the Tigers. So that's what June, July, August. Yeah, about 3.5 months that he did miss there for the San Diego Padres, and they're hopeful that they can keep him healthy at least if they get to the postseason, which looks like they will be headed that way. You mentioned with George Kirby, I can't figure him out. It's that he has a great start and then he has a bad start at home. He's 6-6, 7-5 towards the over. I don't know, man. Anytime you talk about this Mariners offense, it makes you want to puke sometimes because you just don't know what you're going to get from them, honestly. And his last 2 starts, Mal, for George Kirby. Let me get back to that page here. Again, it was against the Oakland A's, 6 innings, 2 earned runs, but that was a game where the Mariners shockingly scored 16 runs. But prior to that, he had a really, really rough month of August for the Seattle Mariners here. So couldn't talk you off of the over here. The Padres offense, we know what we're going to be able to get from them at least. And if the Mariners are able to contribute, I could see getting up and over the total here between Darvish and Kirby here. So I think over 7 would be worth the look here. I'd side with the Padres here, but I don't love it.
Okay, thank you. Next up, 9:40 Eastern first pitch. is Texas Rangers at the Arizona Diamondbacks. Nathan Eovaldi for the Rangers and Zach Gallen for the D-backs, who are minus 146. Texas plus 124. Totals 7.5.
Is Zach Gallen at home,
Munaf.
right?
Yeah, you've got it, mate. Easy game.
Yeah, that was the magic last year with Zach Gallen at home. I mean, this season he's been a little bit more inconsistent, but 12 starts he's made at Chase Field this year, Mouse 7-5 straight up, 6-6 on the run line. So that magic of Zach Gallen at home, I think is worn off a little bit, at least for this season. And I don't know if he's dealing with an injury or there's something lingering with him that's really affecting him, because this has been a guy over the past several seasons now where we talked about that could be in that conversation for Cy Young, but this season has been completely different. He's been alternating between win-loss, or a good outing, bad outing, I should say. You go back all the way to August 10th, had a great outing against the Phillies. Followed that up against the Rays, gave up 4 earned runs, followed that up by 6 shutout innings against the Red Sox. A start after that against the Dodgers, gave up 5 earned runs, and then his last start against the Giants in San Francisco in the Bay Area, there's 6 shutout innings. Walks also are a concern for Zach Gallen here, Mal. He's issued, I should say, 2 walks in 5 straight starts. He's issued 10 walks over his last 3 starts there as well. So not sure if he's going to be the Zach Gallen we're used to seeing when he's pitching at home here. So that makes me a little bit nervous. Nathan Eovaldi on the other side here for the Texas Rangers on the season, 11-7 with a 3.55 ERA. Taking a look at his road starts this season, where he has been a little bit worse. 10 starts, 4-4 with a 4.24 ERA. His recent form for the Texas Rangers, his last outing was absolutely brilliant against the New York Yankees. 7 innings, 2 earned runs, 6 strikeouts, and then prior to that, 7 shutout innings, 10 strikeouts, and 2 walks against the White Sox. But again, that was the White Sox. Historically, he has been good against the Arizona Diamondbacks era. Mal, he's 3-0 with a 3.06 ERA, but I'm just curious to see when that last start was against the Diamondbacks. But it's tough because I don't know what Zach Gallen I'm going to get. And just to Nathan Eovaldi's point, he did have a start against the Diamondbacks earlier this season, only went 3 innings, 5 hits, 2 earned runs in that game that he did give up. I wouldn't be opposed to an over 8 in this game. I think the Diamondbacks offense, we know what they can do. I think the Rangers offense, have they turned it around? It's possible. But I do think runs can be put up in this game here. So I'd like the over 8. If you had a gun to my head, I'd go with the Rangers here. But I think my favorite play is going to be the over 8.
I've got a 7.5 at FanDuel Munaf. You can have if you want. This was the second game that I found tricky. This was the other one. You've got 2 starting pitchers with very similar records and ERAs. Texas has been playing well recently. I hadn't actually noticed just how far back they'd fallen. 4 games under 500. I was kind of surprised when they've done that without me noticing. Eovaldi has been going well. Regularly gets 7 innings out of him. Only 2 earned runs in his last 14 innings. He's striking people out. Isn't quite as sharp on the road. Gallen got hit hard by the Dodgers, but either side of that has had good starts. Arizona have got the clear edge on offense here, and they've got a slight edge with the bullpen as well. In the last 30 days, the D-backs are scoring 6.7 runs per game against 4.2 for Texas. That's 2.5 runs per game, That's a lot. Plus, it's another team with something to play for. Arizona really fighting it out, and Texas not quite so much, which has got to be worth something, another half a run. Short price, minus 146, but I will take Arizona, Munaf.
Now, I have a question for you real quick before we move on here. So for the Rangers, we saw that that both Max Scherzer and Jacob deGrom were making rehab starts and looking to come back. Do you really think there's a point of them to come back now?
Yeah, why not? The pitchers, they've got to pitch. They haven't pitched for ages. deGrom hasn't pitched for years. And I'll just leave at this point, Texas, I don't think they've got anything more to lose. If you don't see deGrom again, you haven't had him anyway. At some point, do you know what I mean? They've lost pretty much anything that they signed him for, the intentions. I'll just leave it up to the players as well. That's the other thing. If the players want to pitch, I think you just have to let them go. maybe psychologically it might be good for them to get back. It might give some of the offensive club a little bit of a lift. Just it might help with some off-season stuff. If you could go to a player and say, okay, well, we've seen Scherzer and DeGrom pitch, you come and be our SP3 or whatever. So yeah, I don't see why not. At the end of the day, the ball players, you got to let them go, Munaf. That would be my opinion. When there's, like you say, when there's nothing left, really to lose, they've already lost it. Yeah. Well, does that seem reasonable, or am I miles off, do you think?
No, I think it was just a general question that I thought of, because I saw, I think last week, that they both had made rehab starts for the Rangers. And like, in my mind, I was thinking, if they throw them out there and they risk injury again, then you don't have them for next year, possibly. I can see the angle which you meant for DeGrom, because he hasn't pitched in so long, where we did see Scherzer this season for the Rangers. But also Scherzer's getting up there in age as well. So maybe there's like a pitch count that they'll put him on, or go and put him out there for maybe 3-4 innings and then call it a day and see how he feels after that. But it was just curious to see that they had both made rehab starts, intending to play again this season, with not much for the Rangers to play for, because they're really not in contention for a wild card spot or even the division right now. So, and I was just like, maybe why risk being those guys out there? But I 100% agree that if the pitcher wants to be out there, and then, you can't really say no if they're healthy and ready to, go out there, whether if it is for, 3, 4, 5 innings at a time.
I don't see much in MLB pitchers that I see possibly like in the Premier League with footballers. When they get older and their legs go, like they adjust the game. People adjust the game. They introduce sort of new facets to the game.
Yeah.
You don't see the older pitchers do that. You'd say, right, okay, I'm going to take 2 or 3 miles an hour off it. I'm going to start finessing it more a little bit. DeGrom's going to come out and just try and blow it past you at 102. Noah Syndergaard was the worst for that. His arm fell off 4 years running, and then you'd say, Noah Syndergaard's going to make a rehab start. And they didn't interview him, and you say, I'm going to throw 107. Just think, just fucking don't. Throw 92 and keep your arm attached to your body. Try something different. But you never seem to do that. I don't know what that is. So, yeah, there you go. A little cultural difference, maybe, Muna. Okay. This is the penultimate game. We're going to look at the 9:45 Eastern between the Milwaukee Brewers and the San Francisco Giants. It's Aaron Savali for the Brewers. San Francisco at TBD here. This is the one game I don't see lines for. I believe it's Hayden Birdsong for the Giants. But like I say, no lines yet. I'll just have a little refresh, see if I can find any. You shout up if you've seen any lines, Munaf.
Yeah, let me see who they have slated here, because I know Roto does a pretty good job of at least projecting a pitcher out there for the next day games when we don't really have one. Let me see here. Go down to the Giants here. So I am seeing, yeah, you're right, Aaron Savale and Hayden Birdsong for the Giants.
Yeah, so part of the reason that I was quite confident it would be is that we handicapped this exact same game last week, myself and Scott, and we handicapped it really well. At that point, there was no need for me to go any further, really. Aaron Savale has been pretty steady. Pitched against the Giants. It was August the 29th last week. We picked him, we bet him, and he obliged in a 6-0 win. Birdsong was the opposition pitcher that day. So I was actively looking for something to stop me picking Savali and the Brewers again. And I couldn't find anything. There was a reason I picked him last week and it worked. That's been reinforced. And I didn't want to do anything different. Obviously, no lines. I don't think they'll be egregiously short. Though Savali is not going to get beyond 140, 150. So I'll take the Brewers. Let me see, Munaf, while you're talking, if I can find the lines from this matchup last week. Might give us a little bit of a hit. But yeah, you say things now.
Yeah. Like you mentioned, right, Aaron Savali here. So you mentioned, right, they faced each other last week, or a couple of weeks ago, I should say, against each other. And Aaron Savali had a brilliant outing against this team back on Wednesday, August 29th. 7 shutout innings, 7 strikeouts, 2 walks. And he's been pretty good, I should say, for this Brewers team. His last 5 starts, he's gone, let's see here, 16 innings, 28 innings, He's only allowed 8 earned runs in that span for this Brewers team. So I know Aaron Savali's been a guy that's kind of bounced around in his career. Hopefully he's found a home here with the Brewers because they could use his arm in that rotation, at least maybe in that 3, 4, 5 spot where they have him slated right now. Just taking a look at his numbers this season. On the road is just where he gets into trouble. That's the part that makes me nervous. He's made 12 starts on the road between when he was with the Rays and then now with the Brewers. 1-3 with a 6.63 ERA. So that's the part that does make you nervous here a little bit for Aaron Savali. But again, he's going into a pitcher-friendly ballpark. Giants offense, I mean, they're not world beaters. You're not really worried about it. And he's been historically pretty good in his career against the San Francisco Giants. I believe it's a 3-0 record, if I'm not mistaken here. Sorry, 2-1 with a 1.59 ERA. So you mentioned with the Hayden Birdsong, I mean, he's just a guy that's going to be in the rotation right now to see what you're kind of getting out of if you're going to utilize him next season, right? Because his ceiling right now is about 3 to 4 innings. He did have a start against this Brewers team. This was the exact matchup, like you mentioned, Mal. 3 2/3 in that game against the Brewers. 5 earned runs he gave up, and walks are an absolute huge concern for him. He's issued, let's see here, 16 walks over the last 14 innings. So that's not very good, obviously. So I think the Brewers are the side here. Maybe if we look at an over in this game, once that number does come out, my guess would probably be a 8 would be my guess if it does come out. But I would side with the Brewers here and over on the total, Mel.
So 2 things just occurred to me, Munaf. You know, I'm very much an analog person, so I've trolled back through my little notebook here. Last week, the Brewers were minus 138, Giants plus 118, total 8.5. I think that's probably about right. That was at the Brewers. I don't think it's going to be worse than minus 138. But having trolled back through my notes, it then also dawned on me, Munaf, that they're one of the resources that we use, the money baller, has got Aaron Savali's last 5 starts with the odds and shared it there. So I didn't have to because it was right in front of me the entire time. Milwaukee 6, Giants nothing. Savali minus 132, the total 8.5, the opposition pitcher and everything. So I'm getting a little bit better, Moon. If I actually used my computer, even though I looked it up on me page first. So yeah, great resource that one, themoneyballer.com. Final game is Cowboy time, 10:10 Eastern first pitch between the Chicago Cubs and the LA Dodgers. It will be left-handed pitcher Shota Imanaga for the Cubs. Dodgers are TBD, but we believe it's going to be Yoshinobu Yamamoto activated from the IL. For the Dodgers, who will go off minus 154 with the Cubs at plus 130, total at 8.5. Munaf, we opened the season in Japan with we in Korea actually with a Japanese. It was Darvish against Yamamoto. We go again here with Imanaga against Yamamoto. So choose your fighter.
Yeah, it should be a really good pitching matchup here. We'll see how long Yamamoto is going to be out there. Obviously, like you mentioned, coming off the IL, and you want to have his arm ready for the postseason for the Dodgers because the rotation is a little bit bleak right now, I guess we can say. I know Jack Flaherty has been pretty good for this team, but Walker Buehler continues to struggle. Yamamoto coming off of the IL there, so a little bit of a concern there. Tyler Glasnow also on the IL right now as well, I believe. For the Dodgers. Hopefully they get their guys healthy. Imanaga's last start was that combined no-no, I believe, for the Cubs against the Pirates. He went 7 shutout innings there, didn't allow anything, obviously. 7 strikeouts, 2 walks in that game, and the Cubs won 12-0. I think the part of this, Mal, here is that do we believe that the Cubs offense has turned it around? Because there was a stretch there for, I don't want to say maybe like 2 months, where the offense was just looking abysmal. And looks like recently, over the past month, maybe even more, they've really turned it around. I think it's going to be a great test for both pitchers here, honestly. Imanaga going up against one of the better offenses in the league. Yamamoto coming off the IL, going up against the Cubs team here. So this is going to be a lot of fun to watch. I think it's a great pitching matchup. shockingly, I'll lean to the Cubs in the first 5 innings here. I just don't know what I'm going to get out of Yamamoto, right? And I think that if the Cubs are able to maybe stay patient at the plate, draw some walks here, maybe there's a little rust that he has to shake off here, Mal. I think there's an opportunity where the Cubs can get to him early here. So I'll go with the Cubs in the first 5 innings. I wouldn't be able to talk you out of an over in this game here as well. I do see an 8.5 right now, but I think that they do get it. The Cubs could do it in the first 5 here.
Yeah, the over's my play, Munaf. So yeah, I agree with you in that one. Carl joined us. Carl, how you doing? Shota Minaga has pitched well lately, 3 wins in a row, by an aggregate score of 33-8. So what you said about the Cubs, suddenly you've found something. You're absolutely right. He's given up 5, and 5 of those 8 runs were his. Yamamoto is back from the IL. The 26-year-old was having a great rookie season. Hasn't been as good at home, and I'm not sure I want to take him off the IL. There's loads of data for the over as well, particularly the Dodgers against left-handed pitching. So yeah, let's get some runs, Munaf. I'll take the over 8.5. Just diving around the bottom draw, Munaf. Anything particularly blow your skirt up at the? I mean, we've got Pittsburgh and Miami with a TBD pitcher. Blaylock going for the Rockies, which doesn't do much. Griffin Cannon against Pablo Lopez seems a little bit one-sided. The White Sox are wasting everybody's time. So, I mean, there's just nothing really caught my eye. The Reds at the Cardinals isn't a bad matchup. There might be an angle in there because Rhett Lauder, we enjoyed last week a lot. In fact, it's just dawned on me. Rhett Lauder was the game where the commenter was talking about the English bloke. We picked an under. He's got an 0.87 record now through a couple of starts. So maybe the Reds can go well there in that one. But anything else from the bottom draw, Munaf?
No, I mean, you mentioned Griffin Canning starting against the Twins. I know he hasn't been very good, to say the least, this season. On the road, I'll just throw this out there before we get to our picks. Griffin Canning has made 12 starts this season on the road. The Angels are 1-11 straight up in those starts, 4-8 on the run line there. And we know how good Pablo Lopez can be for this Twins team. And again, like we mentioned, right, the Twins also in the battle for a playoff spot, also in that division there as well. I know they've fallen back a little bit, but every game matters. And now when you go up against one of the worst teams in the entire MLB and the Angels, you got to take advantage of these opportunities here. So -1.5 would be, I think, a look here for me for the Twins. I think that they honestly do sweep the Angels here.
Fair enough. Give us your lock and a dog, Munaf, from the games we covered.
Yeah, let's get into a lock and dog for the Tuesday card here. Let me start it here. I did like your call about that Padres and Mariners over. I mean, I just don't know what we're going to get out of George Kirby at times, honestly. You know what? I'm going to go with the Baltimore Orioles on the run line, -1.5, +138 against the Boston Red Sox. We talked about Cutter Crawford and his struggles at Fenway Park, and historically against the Baltimore Orioles, where he's made 5 starts against this team, 0-5 straight up, 0-5 on the run line. 3 of those 5 starts have been recent, which was this season for Cutter Crawford against the Orioles, what I'm trying to say. So I'll take that as my dog on the run line for the Orioles, -1.5, +138. Then for my lock, I think it will be it's either the Mets on the money line or it's the under 8 in the Braves and the Nationals game. I think I'll go under 8 in the Braves and Nationals game. Ronaldo Lopez has just been so good. I feel like he just isn't talked about. And because, like we talked about Chris Sale, that he's obviously the front runner for the National League Cy Young Award, that Ronaldo Lopez has been chugging along for this team. Mackenzie Gore has been good against the Braves there as well. In particular this season, we talked about the Braves being an under machine, especially with all the bats that they've been missing. I think this could turn into a little bit of a pitching duel here. I'll go under 8 between the Braves and the Nationals as my lock, Mal.
Okie doke. Thank you, Munaf. I'm going to throw out the Brewers as my lock, even though I don't have odds on them. Got to be about -140 at worst, I would guess. looking at the same pitching matchup last week and the result, but the fact it's this time it's in San Francisco, not at the Brewers. So I'll give, I think Aaron Savale can best Hayden Birdsong again. And I've got a couple of options for my dog. I am quite drawn to Oakland at Houston, but I'm going to go with Kansas City at the Yankees. I think Seth Lugo has found his form again. He used to be on the Mets as well, so he'll quite like to get one over on the Yankees. So he has pitched well against in his career. Plus 126 for Kansas City to take it to Marcus Stroman. We'll see if Bobby Witt can out-hit Aaron Judge. And finally, Munaf, dingers. I gave out Gunnar Henderson last week. He hit a home run on the night before and the night after, but not on the night that I gave him out. And the other person who started to boil my urine is Connor Norby. I think I've given him out twice. He's hit a home run every night I haven't picked him.
Boy.
Yeah, he's been hitting absolute moonshots. But there you go. What you got, Munaf?
Oh, man. Let's go. Oh, man. Let's go with Adley Rutschman of the Baltimore Orioles. I'll double down here a little bit. He's been pretty good in his career against Cutter Crawford. 3 for 10 in his career. 2 of the 3 hits have left the park. He's batting .300, obviously, with a slugging percentage of .900 against Cutter Crawford here. I think Gunnar Henderson is a good option there as well, like you mentioned, but he'll probably hit one Wednesday night instead of Tuesday night. But I'll go with Adley Rutschman against Cutter Crawford against the Orioles and the Red Sox.
The other thing that always happens to me here is I give out Kansas City as my dog, and then the player I want for a home run is on the Yankees. I'm looking at maybe I was looking at Jason Dominguez as it happens.
We even mentioned that he got called back up, right?
Yeah. So go on. He can hit one out, and Kansas City can still win. You've got to stick to my guns here. Jason Dominguez. I like to pick one from slightly off the beaten track. Let's take Dominguez tomorrow for the Yankees. Well, Munaf, somehow we stretched it out to 57 minutes. Old school. Me and you talking bollocks for a while, which is nice. Anything you want to tell the people before we go?
No, I think we pretty much covered it. Like we mentioned, just hang with us. Obviously, with football season here, everybody's excited for that, but we'll still be grinding it out for MLB, at least for the top games. As the season in the month of September progresses, before we know it, we'll be getting ready for the playoffs and previewing series and all that fun stuff here as well. So again, we'll be back normal time throughout the week, some rotation of our guests. And again, if you haven't already subscribed to the MLB Gambling Podcast YouTube channel, please go ahead and do so. Trying to get to 2,500 by the end of the World Series. We'll see if we can get there, but we can't do it without the help of you guys. And you also mentioned the moneyballer.com. It's been a great tool for myself. I know, Mal, you mentioned on the show here as well for us. It's just everything is on one page. It just makes it so much easier for you to handicap your games, trends, stats. It's all just there for you. You can also filter it by last 14 days, full season, and last 30 days, which is absolutely amazing. So honestly cuts down the work when we're handicapping this game, especially in baseball, because there's like we mentioned, 10 to 15 games on any given night there. So go ahead and check them out, themoneyballer.com over there with my guy RC.
Yeah, thanks, Munaf. You're absolutely right about that. I'm going to watch the Mets for an hour before I go to bed. I've taken the over tonight, Tyler McGill against I can't remember who. I've got a proper sweat in the Guillotine League. I'm finished, and there's about 4 people can overtake me. So I need one of Purdy, Wilson, Breece Hall. I need someone to have a bit of a disaster. Otherwise, I'm going to be chopped in week 1, which is not ideal. But yeah, thanks, Munaf. That was fun. Always enjoyed doing a show with you. Thanks, everyone who listened. Like, rate, review, follow us on YouTube. As Munaf said, subscribe. Back tomorrow, myself, and I think it's Scott, maybe. But anyway, good luck with your bets, and we will see you all down the road. Cheers.